Yep, and recording is started, so we can go ahead and get started. Just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about. All right, wait, what happened to us here?
Bought it out for sure.
Why is my game so loud? All right, it's all the way at 60. Turn that down. And Widow's on the left, I think. Yeah. Always a good idea to check that top left, because that's, you know, a good spot, a spot where Widowmakers go. So it's usually a good idea to clear that out. Also, just make sure we're not standing still, because that's always a very easy way to die.
The wonders of modern medicine.
And now we're checking it. Usually, I would imagine. I don't think we saw where she was. You know what spot I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, the
Oh,
pixel.
okay. She's speaking from there actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
we know about the pixel
Mhm.
spot, and like we sat there right at the start, like and checked it, but she wasn't in the pixel. She was in a completely different spot.
Yeah. Well, actually, she probably no. She's just hiding behind the edge there. Because you can
Oh.
go around the corner. So that's what
Oh,
she
I
was up
didn't know
to.
that.
Yeah. And then the other spot is like is being sitting up here on this rock. All right. What number are we? We are number 9. All right.
The wonders of modern medicine. Powered up.
The payload moves in a course.
I'm with you.
The barrier.
Let me get you patched up.
Barrier won't hold together.
Okay.
I'm under attack.
Okay, so in that situation, probably could have gone off a res if like we went for super jump for the body, but I mean, I think the big thing was that we weren't trying to get sniped out of the sky. So I mean, for example, we could like tell Zenyatta like, "Hey Zen, back up," and like get out of the room, and then he could like maybe super jump off of him to get up to the high ground, right? Which is just an option to just comment. The other thing, let's see what happens. Like we lose our Sigma, and then they just kind of run into us. We see that they're pushing us, and we kind of like sit there like they're not about to push us in a moment here, just remembering like people can see our beam and they know that we're in here, so like they like push up right next to us, and this is where we should probably like start flying out. Like we could like fly to Sigma and then jump off his body and then be in spawn, but we kind of just sit still, and then because we sit still, Zarya runs at us, and then we lag behind, and then Zarya kills us, right? So it's just kind of hesitating on the backup.
Valkyrie online. I've got you. Healing stream engaged.
Oh,
Healing stream engaged. The battle continues.
these guys are standing still a lot, or you and your Widow.
Yeah.
Protect the payload. Damage boost engaged. Hello there. Let me get you patched up.
All right. Let's talk camera angles here. So far this whole time we've been staring at Widow. Even before Tracer came in, we were just kind of staring at Widow, right? So if you like kind of look at this line of sight here, like the only character on the entire map we can see at the moment is Widowmaker, right? Which means that we can't see, like, whereas if you're looking this way, right, you can be looking in the complete opposite direction from the person you're pocketing and still have all the information you need to have about them to continue to pocket them. Like you have their health bar right underneath your crosshair, and you can hear if they're running away or whatever, right? You have a bunch of information, so we can be looking in this direction and be seeing Tracer, Ball, Sigma, Zenyatta, and seeing, okay, do any of them need healing? Are they in need of damage boost or what, right? And we get a lot more awareness, so we can peek this corner and see any player on the enemy team, right? We can see, what are they all up to, and get again more information. But we're really, really lacking in the information department if we're staring at one person and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So you should just make sure that we're not staring at the thing that we're trying to pocket. And then here, even after Tracer goes on Widow, we might still not even need to be just staring at Widow. Like, it's just, okay, there, now he looked away.
Heroes never die.
Okay, good Valk timing.
Let's get you back out there.
Nice kill on the Tracer.
Damage increase. We make a great team.
Okay, we're pulling out our pistol quite a bit, so keep in mind there's just a time and place for it on Mercy. Specifically, there's like 3 different instances where it's acceptable. Firstly, which is the main one, when people are low, right? When people when you're able to just kill them really easily, just by tapping them once or twice, then boom, that's an easy kill. 2, if somebody's isolated, like they don't have much team support, but this would really only be if they're not going to have team support for a super long period of time. So for example, like let's say Bap was off on his own, or was a Zenyatta or something like that, and they're just isolated from their team. That's a kill that we could go for. But then finally, is especially when we're valking, targets who just are standing still are going to be really easy to go for. So snipers like Widow, Ashe, Ana, right, even Zenyatta, right, or McCree, we could just pistol, especially while we're ulting, just because they have very fat head hitboxes while also standing still, which allows you to hit them super easily. But here we just go for some pistols when the option really is there's no real great options. We go for the pistol on the Lucio, who sure is meh. But then we take it, put it away, and then we go for the pistol on the Zarya, who is full HP, has a bubble, and is full charge as well. So that just doesn't really do much. And then we pulled it out twice more on the Tracer before that. So it's a lot, and not all the times that we're doing it is it going to get value. Oh. Alright. You swapping up?
Yeah, we're switching comps here.
Let's move it, people.
Join me.
Fully healed. You feel that?
It's time.
Alright, it looks as if when we use this amp that we weren't particularly paying attention to our surroundings here. When we amp, first off, we're down a person, down our Mei. For some reason, Mei and D.Va were lagging really far behind. They need to make sure they're paying attention. But right now, when we are amping, we're down a Mei. And then the other thing is that we're nowhere near their team. So this amp is way, way too early. And it seems as though we thought that they were all up here, but they're actually not. So we want to make sure that we're amping when we know where they are, so that we're not doing a wasted amp. Because obviously, after we know that they're not there, we're not amping into anything if there's no one there, right? Guess we're up 2, so we can be playing super aggro now. Be on speed for them. No, we're on healing and nobody needs healing. We should probably, our goal should be to run into them, and our team's now just kind of chilling in place. We have an advantage, or at least now we're up 1 person still, and we are also on a brawl composition. They are not on a brawl composition yet. We're all kind of standing still here, and we're just waiting. Instead we just our Reinhardt drops to take points. So I guess this might even be more of a team thing in general, but also it's something we can call is hey, keep pushing them. We want to capitalize on this. Right now, composition wise, you guys are the much more aggressive composition. You guys are on a full brawl comp, whereas they are not on a full brawl comp. They're more kind of spammy or hybridy, where they're not wanting to just run into things. They're trying to kite away from you guys. So that means that we want to be running at them, and here are us and our team just kind of stand still. Something we can go for here would be to like run up along. Like we shouldn't have too much to worry about because we have a lot of speed and survivability, and they just used hook. We can just run up here real quick and just like maybe boop them off the high ground, which would be really good, and let our Reinhardt run into them easy here. But instead we just boop them backwards, which doesn't really do anything.
Feel the healing beat. Pump up the volume. Get back. Oh, oh, oh.
Alright, yeah. If that's something that continues, I'll go into depth on it, and then maybe this is something. It's mainly a team play thing, but it can also apply to you, and you can relay it and whatnot. But we'll see how we're approaching our composition here.
Yeah, time to heal up. Let's up.
Yeah, this is probably where we should be amp speeding to like remember where we're using our amp speed. We're trying to get on top of people, get really far, go far and fast. Right here, like they're decently close. Like if we again, why is half of our team lagging behind us so far? But once we wait for them to pop catch up, I guess would be a good idea. And then like we just amp speed and run into them right here. But we're sitting still. Now Reinhardt's shield is gone.
Down. Be there, Lucio. Audio medic. Yeah, let's pick it up.
Yeah, well, the big thing like team wise here at the moment is that like like for some reason we constantly have people like so far behind that aren't coming with the speed, and then therefore we're not grouped up. All right.
Nothing's gonna stop me. I'm on the payload and moving. Yeah, time to heal up. Let's move it, people. Feel the healing beat.
Get down.
Okay, we have a beat. We're probably gonna be. Yeah, they have a grab. They also have a bunch of combos with a grab dragon. So, honestly, we might not even be able to use it with the grab unless like we only have tanks in it. Okay, so yeah, team's on the same page there. We're trying to amp in, and our Mei is trying to wall you out. Okay, I think we're gonna have to talk about this with your team. Alright,
Let's get you healed up.
okay, yeah, why don't we talk about this? So, I'm going to link you a image real quick here. Alright, so this is a compositions chart. You can take a look at this while we talk about it. So this is basically all the compositions in the game and how they operate and like what their preferences are and how they work. So dive, you've heard of that one almost certainly, right? Just me, your monkey, diva, Genji tracer type of deal, right? They're pretty standard with how they operate. They start off far away, they dive in close to you guys, and then pacing, and that's kind of their range. And then their pacing is going to be they just start off slow, and then as they get kills and as they get ultimates, then they're playing faster and faster and faster, which is essentially how all the other ones play anyways. So dive is pretty standard. But where it gets very interesting, but also very important, is where you get to brawl and spam. So just to clarify, hybrid is just in the middle. It's when you're not running anything in particular. If you have 4 or more characters that fit into one of the other compositions, it is one of those compositions. If it does not, then it's probably a hybrid. So if you have 4 brawl characters, that's a brawl comp. But if you have 3 brawl characters and 3 dive characters, then that's a hybrid comp. So in those compositions, it doesn't have as much of a flat up play style unless you're playing a specific like hybrid comp that do exist. It's just not as common as the other ones. usually you're just gonna play kind of deathmatchy. You're all doing your own thing, and that's where you get the kind of ranked comps a lot, where like everyone's playing whatever.
Mhm.
Brawl comp, that's your Reinhardt Zar. That's exactly what we're running. Reinhardt, Diva, Lucio, McCree, Baptiste, May. That is a full brawl composition. All right. Brawl, they like to play close and fast. They like to play close because they're close range characters, right? May's close ranged, Lucio's close ranged, Reinhardt's close ranged, right? They're close range characters, and therefore they want to play fast because the closer range you play, the faster you want to be taking the fights, right? The slower the fight goes, the less time you have to shoot at people, right? So I guess a good comparison for this is say like is if we're playing super far away from them, right? We're positioning ourselves super far away from them. They have the characters that can shoot far have a ton of time to just go pew 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 shoot when we're not doing any damage to them, right? They just get to shoot at us for free. But if we're playing close and fast, then that means that we get to do our damage before they get to just spam us out, right? Now,
Yeah.
spam is the last composition here, and that's just going to be like your Sigma, Roadhog, Orisa, with any long range characters or snipers, and then like Baptiste, Zenyatta, and Mercy, right, make up spam comps. They are long range characters, and therefore, because they are long range characters, they like to play far and they like to play slow. The slower the fight goes, and the further away that they are, the more time that they have to go pew pew shoot from a far range, right? So
Yeah.
they are exact opposites. So how therefore it works is in if you are playing a brawl comp against a spam composition, if the brawl comp can get on top of the spam comp, they win, or at least they have a massive advantage. If the spam comp can tippy toe and dance away from the brawl comp, then the spam comp wins, right? That's just
Mhm.
roughly how it works. Now, in this instance, if we get back to the game that we're in, right, we are running a brawl comp, and they are running kind of a hybrid. They have Roadhog who's spam, Hanzo who's spam, and then they're on a little bit of a mix with everything else. They're not really running anything in particular. They're not running dive, certainly. They're not running brawl at all, and they're not running spam, right? So they're just kind of on a hybrid. So that means that we should be playing faster and trying to get in on top of them, yet that's just not how we've been playing. That's not our team's
Yeah.
that's not how our team's been playing for the past this entire time that we've been on Brawl. We've just kind of been sitting in place. We've just kind of been chilling on cart or chilling in place and just shooting them from where we're at, which is not how a Brawl comp operates. A Brawl comp operates by running at things. Um,
Yeah.
and that this applies to us, but then mainly our team. So this is something that we can communicate to our team and tell them, or it's something that we can like make the call out in game during, or it's something that we just need to understand ourselves, right? Just because as a
Mhm.
team and as us, we're just kind of sitting around when we probably want to be running at them. Like at this moment, we should probably be running at them and amp speeding into them, but we're kind of sitting, and we're not moving at all, right?
Step to this.
Amp heal didn't do anything, and then we're amp speeding. Right now we're running at them. Nope, we're just kind of sitting. Right, our team's just kind of sitting. Okay, so we do immortality for that. That's good. Okay, beat for the Reinhardt there. Right, we had a bunch of time to see that he was low and he needed it.
Yeah.
Right. In this instance, we see that he's purple. We see that it gets hooked. He should probably beat like right about now. Right, but we don't, and then he dies. All right, and it's just delayed.
Get back. I am on.
So, whoa. So far with our wall usage and in speeding around, I think that we're definitely better than we were last week, though I still do think it needs work and we want to keep working on it. So just for example, an instance where this would probably we'd want to be doing this is just like this entire time we're just kind of dancing in the open here. We're just kind of
Yeah.
positioning smack dab in the middle, and we're positioning there. And then here in an instance, or in a moment here, we boop the Ana, we see that she's half HP. This would just be a good instance to like you see this right wall, we would just like run forwards, boost off the right wall to just run at her, get within range of your boop and your melee. This is going to allow you to do better damage than if you're just trying to shoot her normally. It's going to be a lot more consistent and easier to hit. At that range, yeah, we kind of sit here and shoot her from a distance, and we back up, and then we kind of going from side to side rather than getting on top of her. So that's just an instance where we can maybe just use walls to boost at people and use it for mobility.
Double time.
Alright,
I need healing.
so we're back on Mercy here.
Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Be careful out there. You needed a doctor? Merci. I'm with you.
Also, if you guys are looking for suggestions, this map would probably be best for spam all the way around. So now, I'm not too familiar with I guess current meta. Maybe I could be corrected here, but are you aware, is current meta just like full brawl, like there's nothing else, it's just brawl and that's it? Or do you run other things on other maps, and are there like other things that work, or what?
There's other things that work. Like I know double bubble is still fairly common. I know brawl's been played a lot more recently. I think with the patch
Uh-huh.
changes and stuff. Our team specifically, we've been focusing a lot on just like uh just directly improving our brawl. And so we force it. We're forcing it on a lot of maps to learn to play into other like team compositions. So if they like run like double bubble, here for example, well we're not on brawl here, but like at like Gibraltar for example, if they run double bubble and we play brawl into it, we're learning to adapt to it and learning how to win with the comp that's I guess not better because
Alright.
that's our best comp.
So I would just maybe say that it's kind of rough if you're like trying to. This is a really good spam map because it's such a wide open map with a
Yeah.
lot of high grounds, and we kind of swap like halfway through the brawl, which you might find being really rough because if we cap first point and we give up every single ultimate, then that can really reset it can mess our momentum up, as well as the same thing on defense. Is if we lose this first point, and then we immediately swap to brawl afterwards, and swap every character, then that can really give them a big snowball's advantage. Just because losing every ultimate can be really tough on you guys. Now it did work out, but I might suggest just sticking with spam like wholly on this map.
Okay.
Right.
Performance levels.
Where's our oh no, sorry, we don't have a Hanzo. I was looking at their composition. Whoops. Forgot that we were red. Again, sitting still, staring at the thing we're healing at, right? This is gonna mean that we get headshot and flanked super easily. This means that we're not gonna be aware of our surroundings. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to our surroundings and being aware. Nice res.
We still need you. Where does it hurt?
You must like me.
Healing stream engaged.
Alright. Not a ton going on.
Increase. Your support has arrived. This is not your time.
Alright, nice res. Alright, guess what? Why don't we go over strengths and weaknesses real quick? We haven't gone over a ton of Mercy, so I'm not gonna. Honestly, I don't think. Honestly, I haven't seen a ton wrong with a Mercy as of yet. So let's do mainly Lucio when we're talking about through this stuff, and then we'll get. If we continue to play Mercy here, then a lot of the stuff will just kind of add on here. But ability usage. On Lucio, I think, let's see, it's amp speeding and knowing when to heal slash speed. Um, Again, I think it's slightly better than last time, though I still do think that they need work, and we're looking at maybe like a. I kind of want to think through the rest of them, but maybe looking like a medium priority for now. Though maybe like a low to medium priority on that. Ultimate usage, I saw one ult with your beat, and then I saw one Valk, I think. And the beat was a little bit late, and the Valk was fine. So beat or ultimate usage probably looking like one of the strong suits, and I think I said that last time too, didn't I? So that's looking like a low priority, maybe a low to medium, just because there's a little need a little bit of work, just beating a little bit faster. Um, then mechanics of just shooting at stuff. I'd like to see us like getting in on top of things, but like faster and doing that. But honestly, not terrible. Beam usage on Mercy isn't doing bad at all. We're on the right targets with her. And then Lucio, we do miss a couple of shots, but I don't think that's like really massive. So now we're getting into some of the ones that do need a little bit more work. So positioning, making sure we're, positioning near walls and using cover properly on Lucio, right? And using walls to speed around. And then the big one being awareness so far. Positioning being like a medium, and then awareness looking like a medium high to high. Because we're just not looking around us on Mercy, and
Yeah.
there's like we talked about like some of the team composition stuff, which paying attention to team compositions is an awareness thing. Team composition dictates play styles, so we want to make sure we're paying attention to team compositions. It's the first thing we have to pay attention to every single game that we're in, because that's going to dictate how us and our team should be playing. Um, Besides that, what are some other awareness things? Just sometimes we miss things that we should have been paying attention to and not being aware. And yeah, that's it for the moment. We'll keep adding on stuff though. Oh.
What is that melody?
Okay, we don't have res. There we just wasted like half of our Valk because we were on things that didn't do anything. So here we're on the Zenyatta, and then we notice how we kind of stay on the Zenyatta with our beam, and we stay on the Zenyatta, and then we swap the Mercy, and then she's dead, and then we stay on the Zenyatta with our beam, and then we stay. Okay, so we just damage boosted a Zenyatta who was trancing for like half of our ultimate, right? So that didn't necessarily do very much. Dang, our team is like incredibly split at the moment. So it does just makes it. And then here we probably should be healing our Zenyatta because we see a monkey jumps him, but then we stop healing him, and we swap over to the Sigma, right?
Yeah.
So that's like kind of funky. That does come into like the kind of the beam usage and awareness, because like we were on Zenyatta for 6 seconds when we shouldn't have been on him, and then we stopped being on him when he actually needed us, and then
Yeah.
that meant that he dies here when we probably could have kept him alive if we just kept healing him.
Mhm.
Barrier won't hold together.
Mercy in Bereitschaftsdienst. You're all over me.
Alright, let's rewatch this real quick. So we're on the Sigma. We probably don't want to be over here, but we just missed the opportunity right there, I think, because we glanced over at the other body. So here, we probably could have flown over to Sigma to be on his side, but we hesitated because we looked over to the left to look at the body, but we were out of range. And then here again, we could have flown to the ball or the Sigma, and then and then we drop, and then now that puts them out of line of sight, and then we can't fly to the Sigma because he's so far away. And then we're just out of position from everyone. There's nobody else to fly to, so.
Mhm.
Yep. Not much we gotta do there. Maybe we could have flown way faster.
Mhm.
No one can hide from
I am
my
optimized.
sight.
What a curious feeling.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
I am possessed.
Damage boost engaged. Healing stream engaged. increased. Don't stop now.
My barrier is destroyed.
Where does it hurt?
This will restore you.
Barrier activated.
Огонь по готовности.
Let's get you back out there.
Googly eyes. Alright. There we kind of flew into the dragon. Like, we see the dragon come back, and then we fly into the tail end of it and take a bunch of damage, and then fly directly into the monkey and take a bunch of damage. That was just, like, a little bit early when this is honestly a pretty decently winnable fight if we don't go and kill ourselves here. Like, let's say hypothetically we don't die here. Well, now we're right now currently we're down up one single person, right? We don't die, now we're even. It's a 4-4, right? We get a res off in a couple of seconds, now we're up a person. So if we survive here and don't go and feed and kill ourselves, then this goes from a fight that is being lost or losing. We go from losing the fight to winning the fight just from us not going in and dying, right? Because there we
Yeah,
kind of go in and feed. So make sure we're not flying into dragons, we're not flying into danger, right? One of the
yeah,
biggest.
our teammate called losable though, which is why I did.
What do you say?
Like they called losable, or like the fight was lost, reset, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go like jump into the dragon and try and
Yeah,
die.
that was called a little bit early because our DPS got picks. The DPS get fragging and getting kills swung the fight back.
Heal up. Under attack. Push off. Audio ready.
All right. Let's rewatch this real quick. So we're being booped into the corner. Don't stand speed and slowly back away while looking at him. Instead, just swap to speed and try to run away. Like, you just keeping in mind that when you use your speed to run away from something, that's going to give you a greater chance than trying to slowly heal yourself out of something. Usually when you get out of the way of damage and danger, you're going to be taking less damage overall than if you just try to heal yourself through it. That's a very, very standard fact of just running in. So it's like kind of like on a brawl, right? If you're trying to run into the enemy team, you're not going to slowly walk in while healing. Instead, that's why you want a speed boost, because you're trying to cover long area fast, a long distance fast. You're going to overall be taking a lot less damage if you're going in faster than if you're going in really slowly, right? Even if you're on the healing, it outweighs it. So in the situation, we maybe can just be speeding away and running away rather than just slowly walking backwards.
Mhm.
Team kill.
Yeah, let's move it, people. Move. Oh yeah. Healing boost. Move to the beat.
Us shooting our Baptiste made me think about like a year ago. I coached this guy who was like shooting at his teammates constantly. I was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, What are you? You're shooting at your teammates, and that doesn't do anything." He's like, "Oh, I thought you healed your teammates by shooting at them."
That's pretty funny actually.
I thought you needed a head.
Sometimes I'll do it. Like I know, just like things happen so quickly, and then someone just jumps on my screen out of nowhere, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, and I think they're an enemy. So.
All right. Here we're running in, and then we turn around and there's a monkey and a tracer. Probably amp heals so we can get healed faster. Alright, so here we get too distracted with our backline, and then in the meanwhile, Reinhardt ends up dying. Honestly, worrying about Tracer, like, we see Reinhardt go in and get aggressive, so he's in danger up there, yet we kind of turn around to, just shoot at the Tracer? Tracer's like, when Reinhardt's critical, Tracer isn't particularly our job when we have a McCree who can deal with her, and, other DPS and, Diva who can deal with her. So honestly, we'd be much better off just staying with our Reinhardt and amping heals for him, but instead we're just like on the other side of the map, and then he dies. Alright, and then there we get real aggressive and go on top of them. In this instance, it doesn't work too well, mainly being the reason that we're all split very, very far, and then that means that we don't have as much like kind of we don't have as much of a surprise advantage to get on top of them.
Yeah.
Okay, Anna gets the health pack and then she survives. Yeah, so we don't really like when we're just going in us alone and we're just gonna get focused. If we go in with a full brawl, then we have a lot more people for them to look at, right?
Mhm.
That really sucks because that's around the corner from you.
Yeah.
Feel the healing beat.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up holding there because I couldn't see any of my team, so.
Mm-hmm.
To the beat. Sinistro.
Step right.
Oh, let's break it. Damn.
Okay, we do kind of the same thing we did last time as well. Is we're kind of sitting on our healing and standing still after we've just beated, whereas instead we probably want to be amping in or speeding so that we can get on top of things and chase after people.
Mhm.
You having trouble keeping up? Nothing's gonna stop. Get back.
Oh, very nice damage. Nice, we got a 3K there. Which it's honestly looking like we're looking to shoot and kill things more often again, which is good because that's something we talked about last time as well, and I referenced to the video for. So it looks like we're actively attempting to do more damage this time and participate.
Oh yeah. Little hand here. Behind you. This will heal you. Let's get you healed up.
Resting.
Check this out.
60 seconds remaining.
Heal up. Double time. That's this. Yeah, let's move it, people.
All right. Yep, we all kind of group up for that grab. Which is unfortunate because we are on a brawl, so we want to play grouped, but keep in mind, and I think that you are a Masters team, right, and you do ult tracking when it comes to ult countering, right? So I just
Mhm.
actually we talked about ult tracking last time, didn't we? We went
Yes, we did a little
we
bit.
did, yeah, we went over that briefly.
Yep.
I don't remember if I talked about this, but remember, like, as a, I guess, if I did talk about it or if I didn't, ult, you shouldn't be stopping with ult tracking plainly. You also need ult countering as well, because when you just stop at ult tracking, you can say, hey, they have a Grav Dragon, and then have a 0 plan against the Grav Dragon, and then therefore die to it. Instead, what the ult tracking should be doing is you move on to the ult countering phase where you say, okay, they have Grav Dragon, Diva, make sure you try to eat either Grav or Dragon. And then you say on top of that, you say, okay, guys, stay split up, right? That way we're not all getting grabbed. The super, super easy counter to grab is just not to play together. Like, if we don't play together and we also play split up, then Zarya only gets a couple of us, max, right? It's not instead of 4 people, right? At max, she gets
Mhm.
like 2 people. And then that means that Grab Dragon has a greatly reduced effect, right? Also, preferably here, we try to get up to, if we know that they're coming in with a big ult combo, we should be on heals a little bit more rather than speed here. Let's see, are we on run speed just a little bit when maybe we should have been on heals just a little bit longer, which would maybe get us closer to our ultimate. Right, we just on speed a little bit too much if we're trying to just get our ultimate charging fast, right? So just a couple
Yeah.
tiny things that feed into it, right? It's just a thing for our ult tracking as well as our team's ult tracking is that we can't just stop with plan the saying they have this, we also have to come up with a plan for it.
Get back. Oh, let's break it. Dang.
Very nice.
Gonna make you feel better. Speed boost. Pump up.
All right, unfortunate, not much you could have done there.
Yeah, let's pick it up. Get back.
Right, so we won it. Okay, even on the defense, I didn't really see our team coordinatedly walk in together. A lot of the time, we seem to all get super distracted, and we're all on our own thing, and we're kind of playing all over the place. So, team coordination wise, and this is stuff that you can like relay, is that like we just one of the biggest things I think as a team you guys could do better is just stick together, except for in the case of the crab.
Yeah.
Stick together and pick a target and yell that we're going in the target. I think that you said you're trying to fix that by you being the one to call it, but like make
Mhm.
sure that we're all sticking together because there were like multiple times where like we would have like Reinhardt run it like for this instance right here where like Reinhardt run in and then we'd have three people back here, or like back here where we would have like us trying to push high ground and then we'd have Diva like on the Diva all the way over here and the May over here and I'm like why is Diva and May not with you guys? What are they doing? Right?
I know Diva was pushing that card there, but
Okay, yep, which
they,
that's reasonable, right? But then May wants to
yeah,
be with you, right?
May
So
May was way off. Yeah, you're right.
we want to make sure we're all grouped up, and then also we want to make sure we're making sure we're actually running at something. Like for example, here we all decide, okay, we're gonna run at the Zarya, right? In their composition, one of the biggest things that they're playing around is the Zarya energy, like her ability to kill things. So we can get rid of that threat by sprinting at her and killing her, and then therefore we can after that we can sprint at. We're not gonna be able to run at the Lucio too easily, right? And we can't kill the monkey too easily and Hanzo might have some and Tracer might be pretty hard to kill, but we can run Hanzo and Ana, right? So we can go like we can kind of have a kill list where we go like, okay, we're going Zarya, then Hanzo, then Ana, right? Or something like that, where we're just going
Mhm.
where we want to make sure we're running at stuff that can't get away from us, whereas we didn't really seem to be running at much, which is what Brawl as a composition, its goal is to do. And it seemed like that's kind of like what we tried to do, but it was all over the place. Like we just want to commit to going in because sometimes like half of us would go in and half of us wouldn't, or like we just kind of sit around for a long time. So just
Mhm.
as a team, it was all over the place when we want to make sure that we're actually committing if we're gonna play that composition, because that's how that composition works. So now we have a couple extra minutes. Do you have another code that you'd like to go over a couple minutes of?
Yeah. Let me grab it to reopen my game. um.
All right.
Now entering King's Row. Defend objective A.
All right. So we're 9 again.
I have found the enemy. Come and face me. Join me in glory.
Push off. Push off.
Join me in glory.
Push off.
And this boop.
Time to heal up.
All right. So let's think this through. So we're trying to go up and contest the Widowmaker and the McCree. Um, hmm, when we are on a brawl composition, it stinks because here we're being split between two different things, like where we kind of like I'd say that we'd find maybe even more like it because you have to keep in mind when we're leaving our team who really values from the speed and the group healing, we need to be getting kind of an equal amount of value for leaving. So I would probably say that we have to be really careful about like going this far away from them if like in
Mhm.
this situation, right? In this situation, like they just when we're hard engaging, probably the amp speed would be really, really important. But instead we kind of amp speed ourselves so that it doesn't get as much value. And just normal amp speeding ourselves. So we might find more value out of just going with our team and helping kill these guys over here. But instead now these guys don't get our group healing or our speed effect at all. When Lucio's one of the kind of the core things that is needed in a brawl to work out well because you want the speed effect that he gives. Now then that gets a little bit confusing of like, well, when do I leave the team? Well, you can leave your team, of course, like your team just sitting in place. You can leave your team if they are like, or like if they seem like they're already on top of the enemy team, and then they're already like they're all full HP and they don't need you. So a situation like where you're not needed too much is a situation where you can leave. Because in this instance, that we just kind of lose everyone before we actually get there.
Yeah. I know like my team's been telling me a lot lately at like when we get to my Reinhardt like up to where he's in swinging range of their Rhine, and he's able to start like fighting. That's like when they want me to go off. Like if they have
Hmm.
snipers like that, they want me to go off.
Yep, I say that's pretty reasonable of a time to do
Uh-huh.
that.
Okay, so my timing was it bad there
Yeah.
specifically?
So in that instance, the issue there we never gave them the amp speed, right? We probably want
Yeah.
to amp speed and then
Okay.
go. We also kind of left when they weren't necessarily on top of them, and then
Mhm.
also on top of that, he like almost immediately is like 1 HP and critical, so like he gets melted pretty fast, and then they both because they picked your Baptiste was the issue there was they picked
Yeah.
the Baptiste, and then that meant that now they didn't have healing, right? And they were just down both of their supports. So maybe had your Baptiste stayed alive, it would have worked out a lot better.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's move it, people. You feel that? Push on. Oh, oh, oh. Time to accelerate.
Very nice. See, that was a lot more successful because you actually had Baptiste alive and healing your team, and we cleared one off the high ground and then killed the other. Uh-oh. Alright, so let's rewatch this real quick. So first off, we're engaging when it looks like we're at half HP. So we want to watch our health bar because here we do go in when we're still when we're only 100 HP. So maybe we just give it an
Oh
extra 2
yeah.
seconds and get our healing back up. Right, because
Mhm.
a lot of us are decently low. So or I guess it's just us and the diva are the main ones who are low. But maybe you can maybe get healing before we're engaging here. Also making sure that we're just amping heals for ourselves. Is the big thing, and then we don't use amp at all, and then we die. Is the big thing. Also, if we got like one shot in there, one melee, he'd be dead. So there we just don't pay attention to our health bar. We don't amp heals at all.
Mhm.
And we keep getting into aggro.
Got you good as new.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Yeah, it's like, watch one more here. Make sure we're amping speed on the engagement to get in fast. We're not
Yeah.
using amp, right? Amping, make sure we're just going in with the speed boost so we can close that gap a lot faster. We're also out in the open here, right, where it's very easy for us to get shot at and killed, right? There's no cover anywhere when we're standing there, so we want to make sure we're using cover properly. He got walled up in the air there. Keep in mind that good positioning, a good tool that you can use in your head is if every single player on the enemy team was a high enemy McCree, would I be able to survive, right? Good
Okay.
good positioning would mean that you can dodge out from all of them, right? So like, good positioning in this instance would be like right over here where like we can use cover properly and duck around the corner in a couple seconds, right? Or we have the car, for instance, where we can, I mean, maybe not if McCree is being boosted up by a May, but we can have the car. And then the Zarya is kind of the odd person out here. Zarya, our team should just turn around and kill, preferably. But if we're standing in the middle of the point, there's no cover anywhere, right? So we die.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the practice range here, and we'll go over the review and then go over the main points and then wrap up the session from there. So actually, I think I'm going to change up the formatting a little bit here because I've been doing this with some other people, and I think I'm going to just go over the main points and then do the review as we go over the main points. Which I think works decently well. So, number one thing. What was the number one thing to work on? I'd probably say the number one thing to work on is going to be awareness, as that kind of fed into a lot of different areas, right? Being aware of where's our team, where's the enemy team, so making sure we're paying attention to those two things in specific. Making sure that what were some of the other awareness things? Being aware of team compositions and how team compositions operate and play, right, and how they should be properly played, so that we can say that for ourselves and for our team as well, right? Then besides that, what was some other awareness, like paying attention to ultimates and ult countering, right? Maybe for dodging the Zarya grab, right? Besides that, what was some other awareness stuff? Making sure we're not staring at one person as on Mercy with our beam, alright, but instead we're looking around us, not staring at one person in particular. And then also just being aware of like the awareness will feed into like getting our ults off better, so we're not beating late, and feed into when we're using our abilities better, right? So it's just awareness kind of fed into a lot of different things. So awareness is number one. Number two, we're going to put at probably would say I'm going to put at our ability usage. Amp in particular, I think we need to get better with, because like sometimes we just wouldn't use amp, or we'd use it at the wrong timings. Like a lot of those fights, like we should have been like amp speeding in our team, but we weren't, and we kind of would use it on our own, or we just wouldn't use it at all, right? So make sure we're using that correctly. Make sure we're not, amping at the wrong times, like when it's unnecessary. And we're paying attention to when our team needs it. I still think we need to get a little bit better with just a regular crossfade as well, of when to speed, when to heal. There's sometimes where we're doing one when we should be doing the other, right? Like just as a reminder from last time, right? Healing is when we're just sitting in place and not moving anywhere, or when our team's trying to do that. Or if someone on our team needs healing. Speed is anytime we're trying to, us or our team is trying to get somewhere fast, and move around, is really what it is, right? And which is going to be happening pretty frequently, right? Besides that, not too much to say about Boop. And then I think that's it with ability usage. So that's mainly the thing. And then Mercy, let's see, was there anything on Mercy with ability usage? I think honestly not a ton with Mercy with their ability usage. I don't think we weren't on Mercy for too much of the session, but I don't think there was a ton that we even went over on Mercy. Moving on, number 3, we're going to put at our positioning, kind of when to separate from our team, where should we be at. Make sure we're not out in the open, but we're using cover properly. Good positioning is the use of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Make sure we're using walls and we're wall riding. Often to get around the places, that is doing a lot better, but we still want to work on it a little bit. Then, besides that, there's a little bit of just when do I separate from my team, which is, after they don't particularly need you, but if they do need you because they're down the Baptiste, or because to speed into their team to begin with, that's probably when we should be with them. And then we can separate after that, where like the second fight was a better example of how we should be approaching it, because we kind of stayed with them slightly longer. I think we actually used speed to get them in, and then we separated and Bap was still alive, right? Now and then Mercy, I think positioning on Mercy didn't have a big thing. I think the only thing we talked about on Mercy was just making sure that we weren't staring at things, and just our awareness, I think, was one of the big things on Mercy. I don't think we did, I didn't have a problem with all usage, beam targets, or ability usage, so there's nothing really unique about Mercy. Moving on, we have general mechanics, and finally ult usage. I think that in general, both of those are about even. They're like kind of right at the bottom. They're not nearly needing as much work as some of the other areas. So like those are coming in at tied at number 4, just because they just need a little bit of work each. Mechanics wise, just practicing dueling people and hitting your mechanics better. Boops melees, right, to do extra damage. And then also just wall riding mechanics of just wall riding effectively in fights. And then on Mercy, just beam usage. There wasn't much with beam usage on Mercy. And then finally, ultimate usage, you just be beating like on time for a Reinhardt, right? It was like one time that we just beat it slightly late on him. And then make sure as well that whenever we know that we need beat for a fight, if we're trying to charge it fast, stay on healing more often. You're not going to get ult charge if you're on speed. Alright, so if you need your ultimate, be on healing a little bit more often. Alright, do you have any questions on anything that we've gone over?
I don't think so, no.
Alright, so then that is, and then yeah, just as a final, also like just take if you need to, just we also talked about the I think one of the bigger ones, just team wise, is like the team compositions that we went over that kind of affected a large portion of our play style, both us and our team. That was a big thing. So if you need to remind yourself of that, I gave you the picture, so you can take a look at that anytime you need to. So yeah, besides that, that's pretty much it. Let me end the recording.